Hello, he's Pixie doing another video. So I had a carer, I guess, to the client I saw, and she said about how her partner saw his father and described in clear and day what he's wearing and everything else. She said it's strange because he's been visually impaired for the last 30 years, so he had a perfect the dress. He could describe everything on this person was standing in the room, in the front room, while he was sat there with his daughter and his wife, and his wife is the carer as well. And yeah, it's just a worrying thing. What does that mean? Is he just having a hallucination? But the detail was really sharp. Is he getting closer to death? Because he's seen this before. It's like an apparition. I can see it. No one else can see it. And that's the thing about seeing ghosts. You might see them, and nobody else might see them. And why is he seeing them? Well, he's seeing them because the resonance of his body, his soul, his container, the vessel, his body, he's at the same frequency. He's at a similar frequency to his father. So that's why he's seeing him. Yeah, it's gone all dark now. Gone all scary. I'm next to a graveyard, actually. A bit. So that's the possibility is that he's at the same frequency as his soul is. And there was something from the yoga stuff I've been doing, and there was a video, and it mentioned that basically when someone's having a child, so they got this child inside them, the spirits are attracted to that child's frequency, and then they start hanging around it, and then they eventually move into that body, and then they sort of unify the spirit and the flesh and become one. So that's from that form of yoga teachings, what happens before you're born, basically. So that some of that may be very true. If life, I guess if a soul to turn up, a spirit, or if they say your father figure or a parent figure, is that they're kind of confirming that there's something beyond that, the physical, whatever that might be. We're not going to state exactly what that is. But energy doesn't cease with your flesh. It begins and never ends, I guess, or in some way. So yeah, that's something to think about, and also what happened when we pass away, what we might come in contact with, or what we might see before we get to that point where just as we're going to pass, or in the years leading up to it. And the other thing is, if you do see relatives and everything, it doesn't necessarily mean you get die. It could be that point, sickness, maybe you need some guidance in some way. You're reaching out in some way, and they've sort of answered the call. Sometimes, because they kind of act as the observers, they don't necessarily disrupt you, what you're doing, but they may be reaching out in some way. So I mean, for me, it's usually I encounter other types of paranormal activity. I don't really talk to souls in the same way. Usually other beings. So, but then I've always believed they're probably from somewhere else that have come here. Like a lot of my journey didn't start here. It started somewhere far away. This is just where I am at the moment, developing on this world. So I mean, that's how if it seems to feel correct. If I sort of listen to my heart, I mean, I can't prove evidence, show us the evidence and stuff like that. I mean, at some point it may be that I encounter something that I recognise because I've seen it in a former life. I go, yeah, well, I know what that is, and it's some sort of an artefact. And talking about artefacts, I bought a few little bits and bobs. At some point I do a video, and because most people get old stuff, like old coins, Roman coins, Egyptian. So I got an Egyptian artefact that demonstrates a kind of like an alien. The head of it's really unusual. But most people buy these things and they keep them in their original form because they want to prove they're old and so on. So what I do is I'm probably take a picture, and I'm probably going to restore them to where they should look like if they weren't sort of corroded and things like that, or oxidized, and then get them back to the original state. But it would be interesting, the Egyptian pendant. So I had to bid when on a bidding war on eBay. It's really good for this type of stuff. And I'm just really getting into it, like setting your highest bid and other things. Because I got outbidded on something. I was looking at it would have been interesting. It was a Byzantine cross, but it's pre-Christian, I guess, or well, it's not. It could be Christian, but it's not at the point where Christ got involved. So Christianity is older than Christ because he got baptized to be a Christian. So it's that's why Christ is a title to Jesus or Jesus, or however you want to look at it, the formation of that word. But it's very strange in that we've all been taught to say Jesus. If you see a footballer on TV who's got that, you say Jesus. It seems interesting that sort of like you must say it this way. I think it's deflecting from what that means with Jesus, Zeus, having that the Roman impact, and the like Yahweh and so on. Jehovah, actually, probably, I think. So there's the influences of philosophies that have amalgamated. So the origins of all religions do this, is that they go through a period of adaptation and they mix into other religions. We got that with Buddhism and I guess you got, I think it was Zen. Is it Neo outside? Yeah, beyond. So there may be like Neo-Buddhism and other things. It's the same for a lot of religions. It's like we say someone is some fundamentalist, but it might be some sort of retrograde Islam practice or something, where he's taken, say, Sharia law, but he says it in his own name, or interprets that he is some ways divine to Allah, and therefore can speak on the behalf of something that, if it's formless and is unlimited, it wouldn't be interested in death. It's a force of creation, I guess. I mean, fire destroys things, but if you associate the light with the fire, then you're associating something. It's like comparing a jinn to an angel. It's a different set altogether. So yeah, is there anything else I wanted to add today for this? So I've been regularly doing meditations, and it can actually become slightly addictive after a while. Your body gets used to preparing itself to do meditations and switching on. And the other thing is to practice, for me, is deepening like chakras. Now I can sense activation. I can use that elsewhere in my body physically, just to sense energy. And it's the same practice with relaxation, where I say, like, focus on your feet. They'll move. The energy moves up to your knees. It's actually more important, that practice, than they realise, because it's about the neuroscience of being able to sense where your feet are and connect to other energy around you. There may be an abstract religious format in there, but there's something much more profound and beyond that. I mean, if you've got an open mind, then you play around with, how can I focus and sense on my feet? Because it's kind of, you've filtered out all the information that's coming up through your body, you've filtered it out, and then you're focused on one point. And how you can use that, like when you're healing, you're injured, you focus on that one point to speed that up. Or you switch off your pain from that area of your body, because, if you've got a broken bone or something, you can't constantly be thinking about the pain of it. But once it's healing starting, then you kind of, mind can step back and it deals with it differently. Anyway, this is a big sign from this video. I'm going to have a little meditation session, and I'm going on to my next client. So have a good one, and speak to you soon. Bye.